One point, the German commander, who was probably thinking, who the hell is this guy, offered to surrender if York would stop shooting. York said, I don't want to kill anymore, but if you don't surrender, I'll have to. You know, those first few episodes, they were like an introduction to what I'm doing here. We had the introduction to the channel. We had the first recipient of the Medal of Honor and the first two-time recipient of the Medal of Honor at the crazy locomotive chase. But today, I want to move up to one man who was reluctant to even join the military, still became a Medal of Honor recipient. We're going to talk about Alvin York. Let's get into it. You know that feeling when you're not in the mood to do something, but you end up having to do it anyway? Imagine that, but instead of doing the dishes, mowing the lawn, cleaning your room, you're being drafted into World War I. Meet Alvin York. Before he was the most famous American soldier of the Great War, he was a giant, soft-spoken farm boy from the mountains of Tennessee who really didn't want to go to war. He was a pacifist who thought killing was wrong, but somehow he ended up becoming the ultimate one-man army. Today we're breaking down the life of Sergeant Alvin York, and trust me, the irony of this story is just as wild as the combat. Born in 1887 in Pall Mall, Tennessee, Alvin York was basically a character out of a tall tale. His family was dirt poor, living in a one-room cabin. He spent his youth working as a blacksmith and hunting in the Cumberland Mountains. And here's the thing. He was an absolute sharpshooter. He could hit a turkey head from a ridiculous distance. But it wasn't all hunting and blacksmithing. In his younger years, York was a bit of a rowdy guy. He loved the local saloons, and he got into more than his fair share of brawls. That was until he had a massive spiritual awakening. After a close friend died in a bar fight, he joined the local church, swore off drinking, swore off swearing, and gambling, and became deeply religious. So when the draft notice arrived in 1917, you can imagine his reaction. I don't believe in war, and I'm definitely not shooting anyone. So Alvin gets drafted. He goes to training. His commanders did not like him at all. He was a pacifist in the middle of training. What kind of training?
Kind of training, son.
Army training, sir!
Commanders weren't having it. They sent him to training anyway, and York eventually reconciled his religious beliefs with his duty to protect his fellow soldiers. Fast forward October 8th, 1918, the Meuse Argonne offensive. York's unit is pinned down by German machine gun nests on a hillside. They're getting absolutely shredded. York and a small group of men are sent to take out the nest. They get behind the enemy, but the Germans spot them, and things go south fast. Most of the unit is killed or wounded. Suddenly, Alvin is the highest-ranking guy left standing. He's surrounded by German machine guns, and he's pretty much the only one left to deal with them. Now, this is the part that sounds like a movie, and it eventually will be a movie. York didn't just hide. He started picking off German machine gunners, one by one. And he did it with the same calm, surgical precision he used on those turkeys back in Tennessee. Every time a German soldier tried to charge him with a bayonet, York would calmly draw his pistol and pop! Down they went. At one point, the German commander, who was probably thinking, who the hell is this guy, offered to surrender if York would stop shooting. York said, I don't want to kill anymore, but if you don't surrender, I'll have to. The commander surrendered, and then York marched him and over 130 German prisoners back to the American lines. He captured an entire battalion, basically, by himself. When he got back, the Americans were like, wait, what? What did you do? What happened? Where? What? How? He was promoted to sergeant. What else could they do? Awarded the Medal of Honor, and that's why we're here with him today, and became a national sensation overnight. He was the biggest celebrity in America. And remember how he was just a simple guy from the Tennessee mountains. He handled the fame with the same quiet humility he'd always had. He even eventually got his own movie. I told you earlier, it's eventually going to be a movie. Sergeant York, starring Gary Cooper. And York personally picked Cooper to play him, provided the actor didn't smoke or drink during the filming. Alvin York spent the rest of his life focused on education, helping build schools for children in the mountains of Tennessee. I've actually seen one of those schools. He wasn't a man who glorified the violence he'd committed. He was a man who did what he felt he had to do and then went home to make life better for others. He proves that you don't need a specific personality to be a hero. Sometimes you just need to be a steady hand and have a clear sense of duty. Thanks for listening to the story of the man who went from a Tennessee turkey hunter to the most famous soldier in the world. Drop a comment below on who you want to hear about next. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. See you next time.